Your ice powers developed when you were 16, and you were hella embarrassed by them. You tried to hide it at first, cutting out the pesky streaks of ice blonde hair that would grow every so often. You felt like a freak, or worse, a villain. You couldn't think of any good guys with ice powers, except maybe Frozone. You didn't want to accept your powers and kept them a secret from everyone you knew, swearing they were a curse and you'd never use them. That was until one day in New York, you found yourself catering a party for the one and only Tony Stark. Well, you admired the man. Others did not. A bomb was planted and set to go off during Tony's third grand speech. You didn't think. You just reacted. You stepped in front of Tony right as the explosion went off and hit the flame with a blast of ice. You ignored the gasps and murmurs of the crowd behind you and focused all your energy on your powers. The flames died down, and you stood there, frozen, no pun intended, as the people in the crowd stared at you with wide eyes and open mouths. You looked around slowly, and your eyes landed on a curly-haired boy in a suit much too big for him. He locked eyes with you, and did something unexpected. He started clapping. He kept going until others slowly joined in. You felt your usually cold cheeks heat up as Tony Stark himself waltzed over to you. No casualties, no third-degree burns, no damage to my hardwood floors. And you managed to protect my ice sculpture that took George 3 hours to make, Tony quipped. He put his hand on each of your shoulders as if he was knighting you. Tony read your name tag. Congratulations. You're an Avenger now. You found out the cute, curly-haired boy who led the applause was called Peter, and he was also an Avenger. I'm Spider-Man, Peter told you proudly before a mission. What's your made-up name? I don't have one, you tell him sheepishly. Well, you have ice powers, and you want to sound badass, right? What about something cool like the Frost Boss? I truly hate it, you deadpanned with a sly smile. Peter smiled back. Okay, Frost Boss is a no-go, but what about the Killer Chiller? He suggested. A little bit better, a little bit worse, you asked. Peter nodded in agreement. Plus, I don't think I want to be the anything, you grimaced.
Elsa, under ruse,
Tony barked into the comm.
That's enough flirting, we have a mission. You can get back to making friendship bracelets later.
Peter slipped his mask on to hide his blush. You, on the other hand, weren't as lucky. Your first mission didn't go how you hoped. It became clear to you that you didn't fit in, so you hung back and kept to yourself, careful not to step on anyone's toes. It was almost over, and you hadn't done a thing until you heard Cap's voice on the intercom.
One of the guys managed to get away. He's heading towards the north exit. Queens, do you copy?
Cap said.
I see him. On it.
Peter said, and appeared next to you. You saw a bad guy running towards the exit with an arm full of dangerous weapons. Peter tried to shoot a web, but his web shooter made a strange sound. Shoot them all out, Peter huffed. He's getting away! Without thinking, you shot your hands out and coated the floor in ice. The bad guy slipped and fell, dropping the weapons. The rest of the team caught up and secured the weapons. Nice work, Vanilla Ice. Glad to have you on the team. Tony nodded in your direction. You smiled shyly. Killer Frost, Peter spoke up. Everyone, including you, looked at him. Her name is Killer Frost, he said confidently. Peter looked at you expectantly, and you smiled in approval. Killer Frost, you repeated. I like it. You fell for him fast, really fast, like a car sliding down an icy road. On your next mission, a bad guy shot a bullet at Peter, and you froze it in midair, just inches from his face. Peter tore off his mask and shoved it in your trembling hands. You looked up at him in confusion, just as he pulled you into a kiss, your cold lips meeting his warm ones. Total chemical reaction. Peter pulled away, and you let out an icy breath. Ice, ice, baby, Peter breathed out. I'm gonna pretend you didn't just say that, you giggled against his lips. Could you please? I would appreciate that. That was the beginning of your relationship with Peter Parker. Peter caught you doing your routine trimming off your icy blonde locks one day and immediately stopped you. Whoa, 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 Peter said as he lowered your scissors. Why are you cutting off the blonde parts? Those are my favorites, Peter protested. Peter, you can't have favorite strands of my hair, you laughed as you tried to pick up the scissors again. Don't touch them! Peter webbed the scissors to the bathroom counter. You gave him a look. Please leave them. I love them. They remind me of how cool my girlfriend is, Peter pleaded. You sighed and decided to let them stay. Who were you to deny Peter something he loved, especially when you loved him? Oh, wait, what? Peter made sure to pay extra attention to your blonde streaks, always twirling them around his fingers and even learning how to braid just so he could braid your hair. Peter was careful not to take advantage of your powers, but sometimes he needed a little help. Love, Peter whined. My ice cream melted. My drink is a little warm. It's a little toasty in here. You'd roll your eyes, but you'd always lend an icy helping hand, freezing his drinks, cooling him down, and keeping his ice cream nice and cold. But of course, sometimes he'd need to be taught a lesson. Freezing his showers was a favorite of yours. My skin is blue! He'd scream. Sorry! You'd call back in between giggles. The team got a little prank every now and then, too, just so they didn't feel left out. Tony! Cap whined. It's snowing on the kitchen table again. Who the hell put my arm in a block of ice? Bucky demanded. Elsa and Underoos, how many times do I have to say it? No sledding in the tower, Tony would yell. And the jokes. Peter thought himself to be quite the jokester. Honestly, you need to let it go. Well there, no need to act so cold. If your powers are ice, then why are you so hot? You'd groan and tell him to stop, but you, not so, secretly loved it. And, of course, his favorite. Peter, have you seen my suit? You'd ask as you rummaged through your clothes. I'm not telling you anything until you say it. Peter sighed as he looked through a magazine. Peter, I gotta go. Just tell me where it is. You know the magic words. Peter spun around in a spinning chair and set his magazine down. You sighed and looked up at the ceiling. Honey, where is my super suit? You grumbled. Oh, come again? Peter put his hand behind his ear. Where is my super suit? You said louder. Thank you. Peter grinned. It's under the bed. Then there was the hand warming. Your hands were always cold. Always. So Peter was always warming them up. Always. Even before you started dating, he'd find a way to warm your hands on his. Whoa, Peter exclaimed. Your hands are like ice, Peter said when he accidentally brushed them during a sparring match. Geez, I wonder why, you sassed. Here, let me help. Peter gently took your hands in his slightly larger ones and blew his warm breath on them. The simple act heated up your entire body. Does it bother you? You asked quietly. That I'm so cold? Hey, Peter smiled softly. You may be cold, but the way you make me feel inside is nothing short of warm. Honestly, you set off 1,000 sunsets in my tummy every time I look at you. You're not cold. You're the sun. Maybe your powers weren't so bad. Stony Tark. One of the guys managed to get away. He's heading towards the north exit. God damn it. Somebody's probably next door. So annoyed that I've been sitting here for the past 6 hours, screaming into a microphone. Peter tore his mask off your. Peter tore off his mask and shoved it. Oh, Peter tore off his mask and. Peter tore off his mask and. I can't, dude. The kid just said ice, ice, baby. You really expect me to hold a straight face? I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm gonna pretend I can do it because I can. I can't. Elsa and Underoos, how many times do I have to say it? No sledding in the shower! In the shower? How are you sledding in the shower? You set off 1,000 sunsets in my tummy every time in my tummy? How old are you, Peter? You don't know me. I'm super cool on the internet.